We're back. T.A. Mahoney, Tales from the Dark Side. Got another captain in here. You know, when I started this, I started bringing my buddies in here. Ryan Amaturo.
Yes,
Did I
sir.
say it right?
Yes, sir.
I
Said
hope
it right
I
the
didn't
first
butcher it. I may not say it again. We may just stick with Captain Ryan.
Yeah, there you go. A
if
lot of
that'll
people
work.
butcher that last name, but you
Yeah,
got
even,
it right.
even reading it, you know, I've been to school like 10 years, but they weren't a strong 10.
No, I'm telling you.
Okay, so I'm a fisherman. That's
Yeah,
what
right.
happened
We
to me.
barely made it through the classroom. I'm
I
with
did
you on that.
the just enough class.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, having a good time here at Mahoney's. Usually I bring in some people that have to do with my business. You're a customer, you're a guide, you're part of the industry. Seen you coming in here for years. Just know that that's what you want to do. You know, there's plenty of people that come and go, and it seems like you're one of the ones sticking around.
Yeah, man. You know, it all started for me inshore about 12 years ago, and you know, I grew up offshore and a lot out of Tarpon Springs. And
Is that where you were born, Tarpon Springs?
no, I was born here. You know, Tampa, St. Joe's Women's. You know, born and raised right here. And you know, my grandparents, my family owned Sweetheart Skating Rink, and you know,
Where was that at? I've heard of that. I
off
remember.
of Broadway.
Okay.
Yep. So you
Wow.
know that's a big landmark here
That's
in Tampa,
awesome, man.
and you know, just born and raised, and like I said, we did a lot of stuff offshore as a kid growing up. Man, my dad drugged me offshore 2-3 years old, and you know, we had an 18-foot wellcraft, and
That was a big boat back then.
it was a gag catching fool, you know,
Yeah.
and
Was tarpon the
Tarpon was home base for us when we did, you know,
Yeah.
back in the day for my dad. It was just where it all the magic happened. I mean, it
Yeah.
still is. It's the time of the year right
Yeah,
now.
winter
you know,
time.
It's time up there. And about 12 years ago, man, I just got a wild hair. I said, you know what, I want to do the bay boat thing and try to catch a redfish.
What were you doing before that?
I was just in commercial and residential refrigeration and air conditioning. You know, I kind of had a normal job. I graduated high school, went to work for commercial air conditioning company, and
Right.
fished when I could on the weekends, and you know, and did that for a long time after I bought the bay boat, you know, and just fished when I could, and finally was like, you know what, I'm gonna pull the trigger and become a guide and kind of follow my dream. It was a dream of mine to do this, and you know, I just
Still there?
no,
The
I
dream's still there?
dream is still there, man. I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, you
It's
know,
what you like doing?
I love it. You know, it's not cut for everybody. I see a lot of guides in and out, and you know, it's a lot of some are in it for the wrong reasons, you know, and
Right.
and you got to have a passion to do this. You know, we were touching base on it earlier about just the fact that it's brutal. It takes a lot. It's not easy. You
Right.
know, it's a grind every day. It's kind of a battle getting the fishing spots, and
That's why it seems kind of tough to me. Like, you know, I talked on another podcast about, you know, I've heard people refer to part-time guides like it's an easy thing. And to me, I can't imagine working a full-time job and then what I want to do for fun is guide.
right.
Because like you said, it's tough as can be. You really got to have that in you if that's what you want to do. So
Oh, absolutely.
it's all the respect in the world to anybody who's a licensed captain and chooses to feed their family that way, because it's a tough route to go.
It is, man, and it's not easy, you know. And Florida, we have our crazy weather days. I mean, look for the last 3 days.
Right.
It's been brutal, you know. I mean, I ran a big boat today from Tierra Verde to Tarpon Springs in 4 to 6 rollers, 2 miles off the beach all the way up.
Yeah. How big a boat?
It's a 48 Ocean. You know, I'm kind of venturing into something else back offshore. We're going to keep the bay boat going and the inshore stuff going, but
I can tell you this, that if you're going to switch it up, which I think what you're doing more or less is adding to it.
adding to it.
You're not necessarily switching.
Right.
Maybe you're doing more of that offshore, but you still plan on running inshore trips, and
Yes,
your
sir.
boat will be available inshore.
Yeah, we'll have 2 boats inshore. We're actually kind of trying to put a little fleet together, so there'll be 2 boats that run inshore, you know, every day, and I'll be running more of the offshore boat once it
Smart.
comes from dry dock. But occasionally I'll fade back into the inshore. I love snooking redfish.
Well, you know, I was talking to a buddy of mine, Mark Feewalks, today, and I forget exactly what he said, but it could be like 15 trips canceled in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Something like that. It was, and offshore, is a little tougher, you know, to make that trip happen.
Yep.
Are you going to run like specialty trips or?
Yeah, we're so with being on a sport fish like we are, you know, it's kind of hard to focus on like the 6 and the 8 hours, kind of like some of these center console boats do. So we're gonna try to wean more towards like the 14-hour day trips, and then we're gonna offer like an overnight deal, kind of like a 39-hour or a 36-hour,
Right.
something like that. You know, we can get to the middle grounds fairly easy. With the ocean that we're going to be running, it's got the capability to be out there. You know, it's got
Yeah.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths, you know, a full galley, like a grill. I mean,
Air conditioning.
air conditioning, right? You know, we were looking at the center console stuff and the contenders and all that, and they're go fast, they're fun to have.
Yeah.
But
Not
kind
to stay the night.
no, you know, and what we're doing is, I mean, we're going to offer some pulley ridge trips and some dry Tortuga stuff, and I mean, we're trying to kind of think outside the box.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of guys kind of stuck on, you know, hey, let's just turn and burn, and
Right.
we're going to try to go after a little bit different of a, I guess you could say, you know, maybe the market or the
Clientele.
the people who, you know, that want to go out for a couple days. You know, when you spend the night, you get a 2-day limit. You know, it certain things get different. So
2 captains.
2 captains.
Yep.
Yep. 2
Just-
captains to be on it, and you know, we basically 24-hour watch. You got to have that, and
Yeah.
and all that good stuff. So
Well, and even if you're not for hire, somebody has to be up watching that wheel.
absolutely, yep. They will. The Coast Guard they're cracking down too, man. It's getting a lot more difficult to, you know,
Flim flam.
just everything. Flim flam. Yeah. Is that what you call it?
I don't have a problem with them. They don't seem to bother me much, you know.
They've
but
been really good to me, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, man.
Coast Guards jam up.
They're out there to protect us.
And if they
you know?
come to your boat, they're coming to your boat.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That-
They got a reason.
right.
They're
Well,
usually not just checking fishing license. I don't even think they do that.
I'll be honest with you. We about 2 months ago, it happened twice within 2 weeks. We were coming in from like 50 miles, you know, kind of out of clear water. We were coming back in, and we got to like the 25-mile range, and the radar picks up a boat, you know, coming at us, and we look off our stern, and here you see a boat just, I mean, you can tell he's coming at us, and all of a sudden they flip the lights, and it's the Coast Guard. It happened back to back on 2 trips coming in,
And what'd they check?
they just checked our fish. Didn't even ask for a fishing license. They were real cool. They boarded the boat. You know, they checked safety gear, you know, all that good stuff, and let us go on about their way. And those guys are just doing their job.
Was
man.
your boat was kind of slow that you were in?
No, that boat was not slow.
Why didn't y'all tap it up before
Well-
blue lights? You see on the radar, you hadn't done nothing wrong. Just make them work for it. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, well, you know, you know they're coming for you.
Happened too quick.
It was
didn't
just you know we're coming back in. We're all we're sitting back, and my brother's driving, and we got a drink in our hand, having a beer after a long day, a fish box full of fish, and
That's awesome, man. What'd y'all have? Red snapper? It was
we had
open
some
then?
red snapper. Yeah, it was
Yep.
it was part of red snapper. Right before it closed, actually, was when that happened.
Right.
And we had red snapper. We had some gags before red grouper closed. I think we had our limit of mangroves that day and some
Yeah,
yellowtails.
man, what a good day.
Oh, it was-
Middle grounds?
Killer. No, it was we were about
Due
60
west?
was the furthest. Yeah, northwest.
Yeah.
Yep, kind of out of Clearwater. type
Somewhere
deal.
around that pipeline, probably. if
Just
you're
north of
running
the
to
pipeline.
north,
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
What depth?
It was about we were like the 130, 120, 130.
Yeah.
Come in.
Awesome
we did good
area.
in 95 feet. We got some bottom in 95 feet. That's really, really good.
What do you think right now with the cold weather, the time of year for offshore? What do you think for grouper? If we were going to go tomorrow, you're running the boat.
Gag fishing, we're
Yep.
going north.
How far north? How deep?
Tarpon, 55, 65 feet of water
Off Tarpon.
off Tarpon.
I got you.
Tarpon to Hudson. You know,
They're
that-
in there good, huh?
Yeah, we got this cold snap, you know, so my years up there that I've spent, I've noticed that the gag bite's good there year round. It's a little deeper in the summertime, you know, you got to get out a little further, but with the wintertime and this water temp going down, when that water hits 72 degrees, you can get them 5 miles. I mean, 5 miles offshore, big boys. You know,
Right.
they roll in and they're there. They're
Kind of
up
like
there.
snook. 72, 73 degrees in Tampa Bay in the springtime.
It changes.
It's here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time to get out there with a big thread fin.
Yeah,
That's
well-
what my favorite bait is for them big snooks. Springtime anyway,
Yep.
just because they're kind of slow.
Cut
but-
mullet. I like a mullet head.
But you know, I kind of did the same thing you're talking about a few years ago. I grew up offshore fishing with my dad. We've been out of Tarpon, Longboat Key. We kind of bounced between both of them. I know he liked tarpon the best. And of course, if you go up there
Yep.
and look in that area in that 55 to 75 foot of water, a lot of rock bottom, a
Just
lot of
good hard bottom.
Yeah,
Yep. You know, and-
limestone and everything you want as a grouper fisherman.
Oh
right?
yeah, and then you get your bycatch. You know, I mean, it's another thing that's happening right now with this water temp is the hogfish.
I've noticed that on social media.
They're coming.
People
I mean,
are killing them.
but it's getting better.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've noticed the last few trips we've been out on our little bit smaller offshore boat, but we go out there and fish for fun a lot, you know, and you notice it was 1 or 2 hogfish, and then, you know, it's 4 or 5 hogfish, and then you're catching 10. They might not all be keepers. You're bringing 3 or 4 home that are keepers, but
Yeah.
the hogfish bite's really good if you're patient. They're not you know how they are.
Oh yeah.
They're very picky, and
I've dropped down my favorite bait's a rock shrimp. My buddy Poacher Pete's the one that told me about that, Pete. Thank you. I go over here to the shrimp docks on Causeway, and I got a buddy over there that owns one of them places, and he usually tells me for offshore where his shrimp boats are, and you know that time of year go troll around them looking for blackfins. But he also has rock shrimp, and last time I went, I dropped one down. I instantly caught a nice hogfish.
yep,
And didn't catch another one all day.
it's sometimes how
Everybody
it goes.
Whipped me. They were catching them. I was catching junk fish, you know,
You're
which
right.
is the less desirable.
If you have the hot hand.
What's your biggest hogfish?
I got one about a month ago that was right at 20, 21 inch, like 20 and a half.
Wow, and that's on a spinning rod?
That's on an open face. Yeah, it was actually on one of my inshore. It was on a 3K, 15-pound braid and 25-pound leader
Wow.
with a jig head.
Now,
Yeah.
when you were a kid, we were talking about you used to go fishing quite a bit, 12 years old or 8 years old, 6 years old. Do you remember hogfish?
No, I don't.
I mean,
to
you're-
be honest,
Your family didn't catch them. My family didn't catch them, and
I don't remember mangroves when I was young. You
not
know,
like
we-
they are now.
No, I
Maybe
mean-
they didn't know how to fish for them.
And I mean, you know, you look back as my dad and my mom, they took a lot of pictures back in the day. You know, me growing up.
That's
and
awesome, man.
when you look back at those photos, there's no light gear on the boat.
No.
There's no open
4-aughts
faces.
with Dacron.
Right, you know, and downriggers.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's all we had, and you go back to the old big pins, you know, and
Right.
big broomstick poles and 100-pound leader and you know
I was
sinkers,
there.
and that's it. We went out gag fishing. That's what we did,
Yeah.
and that's what you would come back with.
That was what you showed off and targeted.
That's it, you know, and back then though the laws weren't so tight. They weren't 24 inches. You know, there was what it was at 6 when I was growing up. I think it was 6 per person per day.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
even
so-
know if we were counting them. I've had them to where there's been gags on the deck of the boat and everybody's hooked up. And
Yep.
there was nobody counting anything, I can tell you that. I
One
don't know
after
if there
another.
wasn't a limit or what.
Well,
but-
Tarpon Springs Anclote Boat Ramp. I mean, it's gotten to where you can't put if you're bringing back to Anclote Boat Ramp, then
Yeah.
you can't put in there without getting checked. Every single trip he's
they
sitting right there.
wait at the ramp.
They're sitting there, 2 of them. Every single trip I've been
Just
out.
got to get you a buddy that lives on the water around the corners.
Well-
Not that I do it, I just know how to do it.
Yeah, right. We've all maybe done it a time or two, but now what we do is, you know, we just come out of Tierra Verde.
Right.
It might be a little longer kick, but you know the
You just
big-
don't want to get hassled. That's the main thing. We're not talking about doing anything bad. It's just every time you go out, you don't want to get hassled.
Right. It gets, you know, I mean, the same guy checks you,
Yeah.
you know, over and over again.
We
It's
used to have
like-
a guy in the Alpha. I'm not going to mention his name because he may get back on the force to come after me. But I can tell you this: he'll check you for life jackets on the way out, and he'll check you on the way back in. I asked him one time, "You think I throw them away?
Just
You
send 'em
think
off
I
the
get
boat."
out here and just throw them away? I'll give you a first name. His name's Raymond, and anybody from back in the day knows Raymond. Raymond was tough. He'd give his mom a ticket.
We had a guy down in on the South Shore at Cockroach. You know, inshore when I guide inshore, I put in down. You know, I fish a lot of South Shore, and we had a guy that would be at Cockroach Bay Boat Ramp. He bounced from Williams Park to Cockroach Bay. One of the coolest FWC officers I think I've
Most
ever
of them
met.
are.
They're really nice guys, and most of the time they're out there just doing their job. You know, you can't hang that over their head. They're protecting. They're doing their job. They're making sure people's abiding by the law.
Sure.
And that's why we still have our fishery. Honestly,
Right.
I mean, if
It'd be gone if we didn't.
wouldn't it? I mean, I see guys all the time. I was down at Cockroach a couple weeks ago. I went out of there doing some scouting and just dead redfish on the side. You know, dead redfish, dead snook. You know, they're poaching snook at the ramp before they reopened them again, and you just see that stuff. And the FWC guys, man, they work their tail off to do and try to stop that stuff. You know,
Right.
but you can't get all of them. But if it wasn't for them, man, we wouldn't have a fishery.
Well, And the reason why they sit at the ramp, because they've been successful sighting at the ramp.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
Where
right.
people don't know. And we've seen it all over. We've seen it down in the Keys with lobster and,
Yep.
and going in and taking more than your share. I have some issues with them not having stuff open at times, but I can tell you what, I'm never, that no fish is that good. Now put me offshore, and there's certain laws you can go by that if you're using it for your own consumption for that day, you're not bringing any extra back. Don't tell on yourself.
You're right. Absolutely.
Cook it and eat it.
Cook
And
it and eat it.
sometimes, I left. We did a video from here to the Keys in the beginning of the year, springtime. Nothing was open. Gags weren't open. I think reds were open. A couple other things were closed, and we caught 9 or 11 different fish that you could keep in
Yeah.
the worst closure you could have. So there's always something open out there if you're hungry. You don't need to keep what's not there. And I can tell you, snook fishing has gotten better.
Oh man,
it's
even after the red tide, our inshore snook fishery is really good.
turned it up some. What's your biggest snook?
42.
42.
42.
What do you weigh?
I didn't weigh him.
Where do you catch him?
Down on the South Shore. That's
Like-
my biggest. Like just south of Cockroach, around Cockroach Bay. I study that area. That's home for me. I kind of know it like the back of my hand. And I'm starting to venture more north. I'm starting to figure
Something
out up
new.
here something new, man, and just kind of
Look
new
for
scenery.
my buddy Gary up there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he'll see me or I'll see him.
There you go.
I heard a story about him. Maybe I go up and fish the spot that he's sitting on or something like
Yeah.
that.
Tell him you know Doug Westlake
Yeah,
when you
right.
pull up. Hey, I
say,
know
hey,
Doug.
I'm gonna say, hey, Doug at Mahoney's, man. That he told me to come over here and fish this spot there. So, up north is good. It's thriving up there. I don't think they got hit as hard up north as
I
we
don't
did
think
down
it got
south.
there, yeah.
It didn't. I mean,
Well,
there
south is where the whole crap happened, right?
Yeah,
Where they
and it's
Piney
hard-
Point.
Piney Point, yep, and that's kind of home base for a lot of guides, and for me, and it was tough to see. I mean, there was days I was running down there, man. I was passing 2,500, 3,000 dead fish in a day.
Right.
It was nothing but dead fish. A lot of pinfish and catfish, but I mean, I seen some gags floating that were mid to upper 30s.
Well, and that's what's wild about it. When we saw this so-called red tide, which I know we all believe differently, that something, you can call it that if you want, but that chemical spill did not help down there, toxic or whatever it is. But there was stuff that was dead that normally you don't see dead during red tide. You know what I mean?
It
And
was
it was
crazy.
everything.
Yeah, I mean,
From
one of
grouper, snook, redfish, trout.
you name it. Well, what's crazy is another South Shore guide, Will Wise. He sent me a video when that was all going on. Man, they were trying to get bait at a tower, and they threw the net, and they let it sink to the bottom, and they pulling it up. And he said it was heavy. His kid was on the boat with him that day, and he said, man, it's real heavy. We're either loaded or something's up, and they pulled it up, and it had a dead baby dolphin in it from the bottom.
Right.
It killed everything.
Right, and we saw that on TV. We saw manatees,
Yep.
dolphins, that kind of thing.
A
It's
couple guys
definitely-
did some new stuff, and showed it. I mean, it was bad. It's
But it hadn't gotten any better, has it? Has Piney Point gotten any better? Let me tell you what bothers me about the whole deal there. You don't hear anything about it anymore.
it's just
And what happened in my eyes with BP bought, okay, it's bottom line, they bought everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody that was affected, they paid them. That's when all of a sudden there's 15 tuna companies up in Louisiana with all 3 and 4 new boats.
yeah.
I know a lot of them guys, and they're good people. There's nothing wrong with it. Free enterprise, that's what we want. But what happened there was that bill was paid, and we haven't heard anything about BP oil spill. Stuff still goes on and is
Oh,
bad
yeah.
because of it. It's the same way with Piney Point. Everybody jumped in.
Right.
Everybody did. But now that you realize they're not you, but I'm just saying in general, people realize the check's not written. It's like progress stops. We need
Shuts it down.
to continue
Right. Well,
whatever we got to do.
We need
you know.
accountability, to be honest
Exactly.
with you. There's a lot there of accountability, and Piney Point, or whoever was behind it, and obviously I think it was a big money thing. It's,
Oh, absolutely.
it's what everything is,
when something's not right, it's money.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And there's no accountability there. Whoever at the end of the day, whoever did that spill and let it go it could have been a government official for all we know.
Sure.
We really will never know the truth, but there's no accountability there. And like you said, now they're kind of just there's no money handing out. And guess what?
Everybody's quiet about it. And they say the fishing's better,
I can't
those
say that
fish
it's not.
died somewhere. Them fish didn't just pop up.
Right.
Those fish came out of our fishery. It came from Sarasota, probably. It came from Anna Maria. It came from the beaches. We all got a taste of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
St. Pete, St. Pete's got a problem with their sewer systems like us, and they want to build a new pier.
Yeah.
I think it's comical, but in reality, it sucks. We're all in it together, right?
Right, yeah.
Your industry's my industry. If you're doing good, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
And that's what
If I'm
we
hurting,
all
you're hurting
want.
type deal,
That's right.
And it's getting worse, with all them they're building, and like you said, the sewer problems. I don't think it's going to ever get better.
Yeah.
Are the fish going to thrive? Yeah, I think the fish will still thrive.
Certain areas.
Yeah. There's certain areas that aren't polluted as much as others.
Downtown used to be a spot where you probably couldn't catch a fish.
Yeah.
At one time. Bay
Right.
Drum, if anybody remembers that name. He was dumping oil in the Hillsborough River in the 90s. He'd clean drums out. He's in prison still.
Really?
But I remember the guy. You could buy drums from him, but every drum he got, he dumped in a tube that went into the Hillsborough River. I mean, that's the beginning.
Yeah,
So,
polluting it.
and how much of that is going on. But we'll talk a little bit more fishing. We got a break coming up.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you coming in. And,
Absolutely, yeah.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back. T.A. Mahoney, Tales from the Dark Side. Captain Ryan with us today. Give your phone number out, Cap.
Real Naughty Fishing Charters is my inshore side. My phone number is 813-928-6018. You can really reach me anytime, any place. I have Facebook, Instagram. Really, any way you want to get me.
See him rooting around Apollo Beach. I was coming in one day and saw him. You don't know where you're going to see him at.
I just pop up anywhere, man. You never know. I start yelling, hey.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Explain to me, it's starting to get me interested, this Dirty South fishing, what is it, a
Dirty
tournament?
South Fishing League. So
is it just a chosen few? Or?
No, any fisherman can get in it. If they think that they fish enough, they can
and
get
this
in
is
it.
what we're talking about, is a
Facebook Fishing League.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook. They do seasons, I think it's 2 seasons a year. And it's just a group of guys who fish a lot,
I mean, it seems fun. I watch y'all talk trash back and forth, and is it every fish is counted? Or
So basically, Steven Suggs is the guy who kind of created it. He's the creator. They call him the commish. He's, he puts it all on. He's got some help from a few other guys. But basically what happens is every week they do a draw. It's like 5 fish. Every week it's different. And they draw 5 fish, and it's on a point scale. The smaller fish are worth 2, and then, the little bit bigger fish are worth 5, and then you get up in the big stuff, and it's worth 10. And you got a team of 20 guys, and you all, put your points together at the end of the week. One team.
20 guys are fishing for 5 fish a week.
Yep. And so there's 6 teams, I think, in the league. And so every week you play a different team. And like right now we're actually in the today.
I saw something last night.
Today started the championship week, and actually our team, we're in the championship against one of the other teams, and it's fun. It can get a little crazy at times.
Yeah.
A little bit of drama, but what doesn't have
Is it all inshore fish?
Inshore and offshore.
Okay.
So during the regular season, they have they pick inshore fish, and it has an offshore equivalent. So like snook inshore is a gag offshore. Redfish inshore is a mangrove offshore. So they have their equivalents, but like right now in the championship and the playoffs, it's they pick 5 fish, and that's the 5 fish. So that's how.
And what are those 5 you're fishing
this
for?
week we got tarpon. I think it's tarpon, trout, snook, redfish, gag, and that's it. I think that's the 5.
Man, that's right in Tampa Bay. Perfect time of year.
Perfect time of year for
Where are
everything.
you? Where would you think a tarpon would be this time of year?
I mean, if I had to guess, you know, I'm going to target some freshwater ponds. I'm not going to say where, but I'm going to go after some freshwater ponds. I think there's still some tarpon around the Skyway, to be honest with you, man. I don't target them very much. I don't get to do it as much as I would like. It's not something that I
Now,
really.
Does it have to do with the size of the fish, or are you getting all the same points for no matter what
It
size?
has to do with the size. So like I think under 24 inches on a tarpon is 2 points. 24 to 40 is 5 points, and then 40 and bigger is like 10 points is what their breakdown is. So you go after the bigger stuff, you get more points, and then at the end of the week, what
But
team
now
with the most?
freshwater ponds that you're talking about probably aren't going to have no monsters in it. I'm
No,
thinking.
they're not big ones. You'll be lucky to get a 25 inch.
Now,
or
can
30
you only
incher.
count one?
One.
For the week.
One
So
for the
you
week
can't
per
go
per-
in there and get one every day and
Right.
get your points.
Nope. Yep. So they have what's like a points max. So it's like whatever it's 50 points is your max if you got 10-point fish all the way up. So most people, there's a few guys who max and really work their tail off. Me being a guide, everybody tells me to use my fish when I'm on a fishing charter.
Can you do that?
You can. I don't think that
But
there's
you're
no rules.
supposed to catch it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So like for me, I don't use the fish. If I'm guiding and I have
Right.
clients, I don't stop my charter to take a video. Just
I
is what it
gotcha.
is. It's how I see it.
And now you have to have a video with the measurement.
With
I
the
noticed.
measurement, with the release, and then there's a code word every week, so they change the code word.
So you're
that
not
way-
using old
Old
footage,
fo-
big flim flam. They got it all covered.
Right.
How am I supposed to get in there and compete?
They make it tough, man. And if you forget to say a code word or you get a crappy measurement, they throw your points out. I mean, they're
And who's the judge there? Are there a few people? Or
yeah.
just
So
one?
there's like 3 or 4 guys.
I mean, if you can't see a measurement, it's done. We've
It's
all
done.
been in tournaments, right?
Absolutely. Or if you forget, I did it on one of my biggest hogfish. I had a 19-inch hogfish. It was a 10-point fish, and I was offshore. The bite was going crazy. I
Got in a hurry.
got in a hurry, threw a quick measurement, took a quick video, submitted it. No code word, 0 points.
Wow, it
I-
just
I-
happens.
just-
You knew it when you did it. I mean, afterwards they told you, right?
Oh yeah, because I posted the video. I was like, oh yeah.
And what is it? Dirty South Fishing League.
Dirty
right?
South Fishing
Looking
League,
at it on
DSL.
Facebook, looks like a good time. What do you win?
Well, I really think it's more bragging rights, to be honest with you. There's not a lot that you win. We tried the whole get some money in. Most people, some people were wanting to put money in, some people weren't. So it's more of just a fun league, man. You fish with your friends that are on your team, and
I got
at
you.
the end of the season, when you take the
You can
championship,
talk trash.
It's a full season, off season of talking trash, and who doesn't like that?
Man, that's in some cases the fishermen really grinding them in like that. Was it Brian Hassan that won the King of the Beach
Yeah, just
yesterday? Second one he's won. That guy can talk trash all he wants.
Yeah.
He's put meat in the box, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the same thing. And for a fisherman, that's about as good as money, I would think.
I mean, you get your people that are like, oh, we just like to fish. We don't like to talk trash. And in that style of a league, you have to talk trash.
Yeah.
It's nature of the beast. You know?
Right.
It makes it fun. I mean, we're not winning money.
Yeah.
We're not winning, free gear or anything like that.
Right.
So the trash talking, what keeps you coming back every week?
Man, that's awesome.
So
I was wondering about that.
It's a
I
good
was,
time. Yeah, it's a good time, man. They put on a pretty good thing. It's very time consuming. If you don't fish 3 to 5 days a week, it's probably not for you. They don't like people putting up zeros, or you got
your team, right?
You're a
got
team.
19 other people looking at what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Now, is your whole team pulled through?
Yeah.
Put
Last week,
points on the board?
last week I think we put up 270 or 280 in a
Wow.
week. So I mean, we had a good week in the semifinals, and this week
Who
we're in the-
all's on your team?
A lot of Bradenton guys. Not no
Guides or
Nope.
just all?
All just recreational guys that love to fish. There's a few guides in the league besides myself.
Do y'all ever get together and make a plan? Or
Oh
it's
yeah.
just-
Oh, it's a team strategy. We actually have a private team chat on Facebook and Messenger, and
kinda
we
tell each other what we should be shooting
hey,
for.
this is or if you're on a school of something, or I got the bass pond. Like this week is one of the fish's bass, and I got the bass pond. We can go get 5 pointers in 10 minutes all day long.
What's a 5-pointer? What's that?
15 inches. So it's 20 inches is a 10-pointer. Like I went earlier this afternoon, and I think I broke 2 in the lilies and caught like 6 in less than an hour.
Let me ask, this is hypothetical. Let me just ask you this. So, could you go into the Bass Pro Shops over there, into their big aquarium, catch that bass, throw it out on a measurement, code word, back in the tank?
I would try it.
Is that,
I would try it.
so there's no rule against that?
They can't. Right, it's fishing.
Oh, boy.
Hook and line, and there's redfish in that tank too.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you get it all 5 in one shot. I bet there's tarpon in there.
There probably is. You know what? Maybe we should go give that a try. You coming with me, Mike?
Yeah, I'll tie up the security, because when I walk through, I know they all look at me, so that won't be a problem at all. They usually, it's kind of funny. You go in a place like that, and it's like I look around, there's nobody. I look around again, there's like 10 employees around me, acting like they're looking at stuff, looking over at me,
putting
and
packs of hooks on the thing that's already full.
Yeah,
absolutely.
go through. I know they profile when I go through the airport too. Every time I'm just magically searched. Oh, okay, yeah, it's random. I know it is.
Yeah.
Random that I get it every single time I walk through.
No
But
matter
I don't
where you're
blame
at.
them.
No.
I really don't. I hope they have that concern with everybody.
Yeah. We had an agriculture cop in. I lived in Riverview a while back, and there's a few ponds in Riverview that are really good bass ponds, and we had an agriculture sheriff that ran all the, where all the cows are and all the agriculture land. And man, that guy got me so many times. He knew I was first name basis, because he knew if he come by the pond on any given weekday that, me and my dumb buddies are walking the bank catching bass. I mean, we were pulling 12-pounders out like it was nothing. My buddy's got a few on the wall, and
he run you out of there?
Oh, he ran us out every time. You got another warning. Don't do it again. You're gonna get trespassing next time. All right, we'll see you next week.
Why don't you just run from him?
Well, when 3 of them show up, it's kind of hard.
Oh yeah, it's kind of hard.
He gets smart.
Not that I'd run from him, but I'm just wondering why.
We tried one time and it didn't pan out.
Yeah, that's not a good time. It's fun when you get away.
Yeah,
but when you get caught,
it's not fun.
Boy,
then they give you a lecture,
I got some good stories we could go viral with that one. I've tried to run and been caught a few times, probably more than I got away, but I never really was doing nothing. I just didn't feel like talking to anybody.
Right, you just
nothing wrong with that.
No.
Feel like being by myself for a while.
Right, and that's what fishing does for me.
Yeah. Shoot, it saved my life. I promise you that. It's put me in the water, and I could have, at a young age, I was doing not good stuff and supported my family, and I got into this place, and that's one of the things we were talking about earlier, about how certain people are different ways in this industry. I always say this, that some people pick the industry, and some people, the industry picks them.
Absolutely.
I don't know that I'd have been good for anything else other than what I do, to be honest with you. I wouldn't.
Right.
It's just the way it is.
Kind of like your calling.
Yeah. Just try to help people out and do the best I can, and mainly have a good time.
Yeah.
Fish and hunt as much as I can.
This place here, man, it helps people every day. I know it does, and I think, man, I've been coming here since probably before I can remember.
Yeah.
And just the atmosphere at Mahoney's, man. You walk in, and I mean, now for me, it's like second family on the water.
Sure.
You're one of my sponsors, and Doug and Matt and Brett and all the guys, Mark, and I mean just everybody. I walk through the door, and no matter what it is, there's an answer for anything boating in here. 99.999% of the time, you're gonna get what you need here.
Yeah, or I'm gonna send you the right way. The resources we have
are huge. You've been at it for a long time, man, and I'm thankful for people like this in the industry, for you guys, and it helps me a ton. I live close. I mean, 3 weeks ago, I forget what it was that I bought. New power pole hose for the hydraulics. I get home and I forgot the brass fittings that
fit them on.
Fit them on, and I called up here, and it was, I think it was a ferrule is what it's called. Yep. It was a Saturday. I called up here at like 12:30, and I said, I ain't gonna make it back. Your daughter actually met me on her way home. And gave me the ferrules.
Awesome.
It's family.
Well,
man.
and I'll tell you something, and I really appreciate that. The guys I got are the greatest. The knowledge they have, the resources we have. We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for guys like yourself. The customer is what keeps us here, and that is our goal, to take care of and that's kind of why I'm doing this here.
Yeah.
Let people know who we deal with, who we are. We're here to help you.
Right.
You're not a bother. I answer you could say stupid questions every day. They're not stupid. If you don't know them and you
Ask
don't
'em.
know about it,
Yeah,
ask me.
absolutely.
I'll tell you exactly what to do. I'll tell you if I don't think you should.
Right.
I had a guy the other day in here. He's probably, hope he ain't listening. He's about 75, and he's wanting me to set up this big fancy tiller handle boat. And he's going to get him a rail. It kind of reminds me of Cam's dad, you know, petting fish and naming them, and big special fly fishing boat. You know, you got a handle and a tiller handle.
You're right.
He's talking about taking grandkids out. And I said, man, think about this. You got a hand up here and you got a hand back here and you got a bad shoulder. Now you got a grandkid next to you. Who's holding on to them?
Right.
I said, get you that steering wheel.
Yeah.
In the console. Don't run that tiller handle. But, you know, those boats, they look clean as can be, those little micro skiffs or whatever you call them. Gamrot was on here one day. That's what he started guiding in, and I told him that's why you didn't get no charters. Nobody wants to go in a boat like that.
Not unless you're a skinny water guy or a backcountry guy.
Fly fishing.
Fly fishing, yeah, that's it.
You know, it's weird. I've worked at this store, I think, about 32, 33 years now, and I've been back here. Of course, I was here when I was a kid, but you can tell the different boat owners when they walk through the door.
You can read them right when they come in.
It has nothing to do with what they're buying or how they want to spend. It's just something about them. You know, a fly fishing guide is really, and a fly fisherman is really super into details.
Mm-hmm.
The bay boat guy, Wes Burns, perfect example. He'll run 3 tires all week. He don't care. There's 3 on the ground. There's 1 missing. I think for 6 months he used to pull up here because he didn't trailer it very far.
Right.
And it was a tandem axle trailer. It had 3 tires on it.
It's got enough.
He didn't need another one.
Right.
You know, the offshore guys are a little bit different. They want, you know, double anchors, and they want double line, twice as much as what they need because you're getting out there.
Yeah.
Something that you're very aware of. You get out there, you can't run out.
Right. No, absolutely not. Yep.
And that's one of the hardest things about those sport fish boats you're talking about is the storage, because in a boat like that on a 3-day trip or a 2-day trip, I've been there, and you got to have everything.
Everything.
Wahoo, grouper, marlin.
Yeah.
Are y'all going to target some of that?
Yeah. We're gonna, we're gonna have a full trolling spread on board at all times, whether we're on a bottom trip or not. You know, you never know. Like you said, when you're out there, there's no telling. I mean, I was red snapper fishing last year in 142 feet north of the Mexican Pride, about 4 miles, and got a 70-pound wahoo on a flat line.
Yeah.
We were anchored. You know,
Right.
we had a marker ball out. We were catching red snapper. I mean, we were anchored, and next thing you know, the flat line goes peeling, and we got a battle on our hands. And he about spooled us. So
What combo did you have?
we had then it was actually before I got my rod sponsor, but I had a Star rod and a 6,000 pin, and it was
Like a spinning reel?
like an open face. It was a flat line. We had a
Boy,
kingfish.
talk about taking a knife to a gunfight.
You aren't kidding. Well, and it was just me and my brother. There was nobody else on the boat. It was like a Wednesday. It was the middle of the day. We just
Awesome.
we got a wild hair. It's like, let's go red snapper fishing. Okay, we had a perfect day. The rod, the open face was in the top rod holder. You know, we had to drag a little loose. It was for a kingfish. I mean, you look up and get them out there.
Stinger rig on it?
Yep, nothing. And it had a big white bait on it. You know, a big greenie. And next thing you know, man, zzz, there it goes.
They
It's like,
dump it.
They dump it. Well, I locked down on him and got a little back, and then he just kept dumping it. And I'm looking at the reel, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm running out fast.
Yeah.
So, I told him, I said, start up, let's get the anchor up a little bit. Well, we pulled the anchor up to about 115 feet just off the bottom, and we chased this fish. And he started circling under the boat. I'm like, man, that's a big kingfish. And then all of a sudden, he showed his colors. And I'm looking at this one on your wall right here, and
53.
and when you see that color,
Yeah.
you just know, and it was my brother's first, and our biggest one ever. And it was pandemonium. It was one of those videos you were talking about that if I was to release it, it'd have a lot of beeping in it.
Yeah.
But it would go viral because it was epic. It was you don't get lucky like that on that kind of outfit that we had.
Well, and I agree with you. It was meant to be, and it was your time to get it. I can tell you this, wahoo, when you described the way you caught him, you should have never caught him.
Absolutely not.
It's
We were losing
light
battle.
line, no torque on them.
It's 30-pound braid.
Yeah, the biggest problem you got there with a wahoo is they have the most vicious head shake you've ever seen.
Yep.
So if your drag's light and he does that, it's going to get off. He's throwing that hook. I've had him do it to lures. I've had him, you got to keep that boat in gear and keep it running. But a great fishery out there.
Absolutely.
I catch them. We target them. We go out for them, and we catch them, which is, I'm not going to tell you we put 3 or 4 in the boat, 5 or 6, like some of the areas on the East Coast you see, but we have plenty of them out there, and they're usually pretty good. Most of them that I've caught are probably over 40 pounds, 45 pounds. I went with Mark Feewoks maybe a month ago, ran south to a spring 100 miles out, and we got about a 35-pounder, which is really about the smallest
They're good
that we've
eating.
got. But, man, they're the best, one of the best in the bay to eat, or Gulf to eat.
Absolutely, yeah, I love them. We did some steaks, and we cook it up on the grill, and I mean it's phenomenal to eat. There's nothing like it to me, and as far as when you get into that kind of fishery,
Well, and the swordfish too, that's something that we really haven't seen out here a lot. I've been with Tommy LaRange a few times.
Right.
We've been successful. We got about a 180. Last time we went out, there's a boat right here in downtown, if you're going across a crosstown harbor island, called Real Blonde. I believe it's 70, 80-foot enclosed bridge Viking, and guy's a super guy. We went out there on a 3-day trip, caught my first mako.
Really?
I didn't catch it, I was on the boat. But the first time I'd seen one caught here in the Gulf of Mexico. Never have I seen a mako.
No,
And,
I've never have, not in person anyway.
He never jumped. He hit a marlin lure. Could have been for wahoo. We had cable on it. And we didn't know it till he was on the transom.
Really?
I mean, it was every fish in the book. It's a wahoo, it's a marlin, it's this, it's that. And when he came up to the back of the boat, his back looked dark to me, and I said, hey, that's a big marlin right there, because I saw his body, and then his head came up, and I saw that point, and then it got real good, because the captain goes, Mahoney. I go, yeah. He goes, you got that pistol in your bag? I go, yeah. Can I shoot him? Absolutely.
Oh, really?
So I got to put him to sleep next to the boat there.
That's a pretty good experience.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. I hit him twice, made his eyes close. We pulled him in. I'll tell you, those teeth looking
Nothing
nasty.
like it.
So we caught a swordfish and that mako last time we went out. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm looking forward to out there, and kind of learning more about it. The bottom thing I got, we feel like we have a really good handle on it, and we got the bottom figured out, but you can always learn. I tell people I learn every day. I learn from clients. I learn from other people, other guides. I learn from everybody. You do. You don't know everything. Nobody does.
yeah, one thing I think about this coast and the people that fish that deep water, you're going to find them a little bit different than what you find inshore.
Yeah.
Most of those guys that fish hard out there are the best this
do it.
coast,
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, the captains and the people, and there's a few of them, the Marquettes, and Dalen's on a boat, Chad Manning's on a boat, Rubio's on a big boat. Usually Kenny Hyatt's run the big boats. I mean, I can just go through names and names of who's out there running boats. Those people are more opt to help you.
Yeah, right.
And to get in that circle with them. One thing I'd suggest to you, as much info, I'll give you whatever I got, where we're fishing, north or south, and some of the info I get. There's one of the things I think that's super important are the currents out there and the temps. Hilton real-time navigation, in my opinion. I know Tom Hilton. I met him, fished the Key West Marlin tournament with him. His program's spot on.
Really?
Every time we've caught blue marlin and used his program from Key West to out here, every time right where we catch him is right where he would be, and he would suggest usually where the cooler water is.
Right.
Sometimes you look for the opposite. If you're in real cold water, you want to look where the warm water eddy is out there, and
Absolutely.
that's kind of what you want to target. But and also another great tool, Kevin from Fisherman's Ideal Supply. Kevin fishes offshore there. He carries all the tackle there, anything you could ever need for that trolling, and it's always helpful to everybody I send over there.
Okay.
I think the main lure to use, I troll nomads. When I want to catch wahoo, bottom fishing, flat line, definitely 120 foot. I'm throwing him out.
Yeah.
We get sailfish, which when I was a kid, probably only caught one here accidentally. Caught it on a buoy line with my dad.
Really?
He got his tail wrapped around the buoy line. He wore himself out. We pulled him in, and then two big great white sharks ate him. But
Oh, wow.
we'll save that story for later. And that was the only time I've ever seen it out here.
Yeah.
I got a friend of my dad's coming on, hopefully, in a podcast, Don Marcy. He was on the boat that trip, and we're going to talk about it. So there was some witnesses. I didn't fish. They caught 1,000 pounds of cobia. Wow. He ate the sailfish, and there was two great white sharks there. It was jaws had just come out. We're in a 16-foot wooden boat. The name of the boat was the Coffin.
Oh, gosh.
So we're in 120 foot of water in a 16-foot wooden boat.
No electronics.
Loran down on the floor somewhere, big toaster oven and a paper machine and a mercury motor. There's a floating gas tank. He had gas tanks everywhere. He wasn't running out of gas. And the boat was full of foam, so it wasn't going to sink.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I caught at the time, my biggest red snapper, 21 pounds off the Mexican Pride in a 16-foot wooden boat. Dang. And I didn't have a choice. I was so bad. My mom was like, yeah, you can go fishing, but you're taking the Antichrist with you. He ain't leaving him here without somebody to handle him. You
right,
know?
He's going with you.
They didn't have shock collars back then.
That's awesome.
Ryan, give your number out one more time.
Yeah, so my number is 813-928-6018. You can reach me there. You can find me on Facebook, Real Naughty Fishing Charters on Facebook, or Ryan Amaturo. I have Instagram, Captain Ryan Amaturo on Instagram, and this is kind of like the first time I've talked about our offshore boat. You know, I have a great business partner, Dan Patrick and his wife Michelle Patrick. I want to give them a shout out. Without them, what we're doing offshore, man, wouldn't be possible. You know, it's the three of us, and my girlfriend Rain, she's back there too, and doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And you know, them people most of the time don't get enough credit. You know, they do all the legwork, and us captains and mates and the people that are on the boat every day, you know, we get all the credit, but in reality, man, it's the people behind the scenes.
Oh, it's the whole group.
Without them, it wouldn't be possible. Real Naughty Fishing Charters is still going to be the inshore side of things for us, but we're going to be introducing our new charter. It's going to be called Fade to Blue Fishing Charters. So we'll be based out of St. Petersburg, Florida. The boat's going to be at Maximo Marina. We got a slip there for it once it gets refitted here in about 10 days, and we're working on all of our, you know, our social media stuff and our websites and logos and all that good stuff now, and we hope to really release that here coming up. But you know, I wanted to kind of give it a little shout out, and like I said, your podcast is really the first time I've kind of let anybody know. You know, our close friends and family know about it, but for the people to know, you know, we're starting a little more than just inshore.
Awesome, man.
We're gonna have 2 inshore boats, but we're also gonna have an offshore boat, and we're kind of gonna do packages for people. You know, we kind of want everybody's business, and you know, we strive to do good and put people on fish, but also, man, it's just about an experience and a good time. And
yeah, that's the main thing, enjoying what you're doing.
Honestly, I like the kid thing more than anything. You know, the younger generation, man, we're losing that touch with the younger generation as far as fishing and hunting and all that good stuff. And when I take kids on the boat, man, and I see their smiles and the
Nothing
times they
beats
had, just nothing beats it. You know, I was there one day. I was that kid. You know, I had a kid on the boat. He was from Indiana, about 8. It was in the middle of summertime. They were down here on summer vacation, you know, and he showed up ready to go, you know, and
That's awesome,
he
man.
caught a bunch of fish, and basically at the end of the day, dude, he said, hey, I want to do this when I get older. I said, well, you come on down to Florida and we'll get you going, you know, and seeing that is what makes it good for me, and you know, just the experiences, man. And
yeah, I agree with you, man. Passing it on to the next generation to protect what's coming up, to make sure we have fish to catch.
Absolutely.
Captain Ryan, I appreciate you coming in.
Yes, sir. I appreciate
talking with us, and
Yep.
I appreciate you being a customer, and looking forward to helping you. Any way I can help you out offshore, let me know.
I appreciate that, sir.
Sometimes I can tell you where not to go. I may not tell you where to go to catch fish, but I'll tell you where not to go, because I seem to hit those once in a while.
Yeah, I hit them more so than none, so I'm good at it.
That's
If you
right.
need to not know where not to go inshore, just call me. I'll tell you. Or if you want to catch catfish, we're good at that too.
Hey, and follow that Dirty South Fishing League. It's kind of exciting looking at them guys talking trash. I'm thinking if they keep talking trash, I may have to get in on some of that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we might have to get you in, you know. Shout out to DSFL, man. We have a good time over there, And you know, the guys who put it on, man, they work their tail off. So if you're interested, look us up. We'll be glad to talk
Awesome,
some
man.
trash back to you.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for
Thank
coming
you.
out.
Yep. Have a good night.